Hi guys, thanks for listening. Thank you as well to those of you who donate to the Patreon account. I've launched a campaign to raise funds to buy a new iMac. My current computer has been in use for over 8 years, and it is affecting my ability to create new content. As previously stated, my Patreon account can be found at www.patreon, that's patreon.com/leader1, LEADERONE. For those of you who would prefer to make a one-time single donation, there is also the option to send money to my PayPal account. The email address to send it to is Morgan Rector, my last name spelled RECTOR, 331, Morgan Rector 331 at hotmail.com. Remember, any amount is fine. If $1 one time is all you wish to donate, it would be gratefully accepted. Thank you for all your support, whatever forms it has taken. Enjoy the show. So, welcome to the True Crime News, and I'm Morgan Rector.
I am Rachel Telfor.
And we have a guest with us tonight. Welcome to Michelle Gower. Say hello,
Hi.
Michelle Gower.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
And the reason I've asked Michelle to join us tonight is that she can offer us some special insight on the crime stories we'll be reading. So I understand that you studied criminology in college, and I was just wondering if you could describe the courses or course you took and what areas of crime that you focused on.
Yeah, sure. So in college, I went for criminal justice, actually, with the sole intent of trying to be a homicide detective. Didn't work out, obviously, but
Ooh,
that'd be
fun.
a cooler story.
That's a cool job.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
It's
Dream.
not an easy job. Yeah.
And so,
But,
why didn't it? Oh, sorry. Why didn't it work out? If you don't mind me asking.
So my original goals were to go into the FBI and do homicide detective work. And then while I was in college, Trump took over office and changed the requirements for people to get into the FBI. So pre-Trump, some of the requirements were you had to have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice or an affiliating, area. And then you also had to have at least 4 years, I think, of consistent work at one specific job. And then it was going to be a matter of, passing a set amount of tests, because they were actually going to have written tests that you were going to have to take to even get qualified to go to Quantico. So when Trump took over, one of his requirements was we definitely want people to have a police background. And I'm 5'1". I'm not intimidating to anybody.
Oh, you're tiny.
I'm all hobbit.
But you're a
size,
force.
so-
I can feel it.
Well, investigation
Yeah,
is more of an intellectual thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do. I did customer service my whole life, and I was so over dealing with the living. I just wanted to focus on helping the dead people so that
That's
they could have
amazing.
better rest.
That's amazing.
But yeah, it didn't come to pass. Life happened. I ended up having a kid. That kind of changed everything. You kind of switch gears with your focus a little bit. It's like, if I get shot, it's not just me being, fucked with. It's going to affect my family more so because I'm leaving others behind as well.
I think you can agree that I always say, what people ask advice and when you first become pregnant, and I say the one thing that changed when you become a mother is that you will never, for the rest of your life, ever be carefree again.
Yeah, sounds right.
I like to think I am, but yeah, no, it doesn't.
No, like you're always going to worry about, like, that's why we do what we do, though. That's why I'm
Yeah.
upset. Like, that's why I love true crime and why you do what you do, because to be aware of it and to know about it is to be better prepared, right?
No, it is. And like so little fun facts about me pre, even college and stuff. I mentioned earlier when we were talking before the show started, I grew up in Chicago. I'm originally from the suburbs. And
Right.
so as far as true crime, that's always been something that's fascinated me because my mom was actually friends with one of the first, the siblings of one of the first victims of John Wayne Gacy.
Wow.
Oh,
So
wow. No
I
shit.
have a tie. Yeah, I have a tie.
Oh, my
with it.
God.
And I remember being a little kid, and I remember being at my friend's house the day he was executed. And, like, I didn't know what all happened back then because I was young. I mean, this was early 90s. And I remember my friend's mom was just sitting on the couch folding laundry, and she was the nicest human, right? But all
Right.
she said when they brought it up on the news was good. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell did this guy do that people are happy he's dead? Like, it didn't click.
Oh, they are.
Do you mind me asking, this is so rude, but this is human monsters and true crime, so whatever. What's your age range, if you don't?
I'll be 33 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
You don't look it.
So, yeah.
Well,
I really don't.
I don't know what
see
you look like,
people's
but you
fear
sound
and
amazing.
emotion, so it keeps me young. It's because I didn't grow after I was 12. It's why I'm short. I
Perfect.
sound little, and I always joked at this point I should just be an undercover cop busting people for selling cigarettes to minors and shit.
No shit. Yeah, you could totally do that.
I'm more involved in my community now because obviously, I didn't become an FBI agent. I'm not the next Fox Mulder or whatever the fuck. So I actually work for a local agency that works alongside children's services and drug rehabilitation. And I focus on dealing with at-risk youth. So I try to keep them on track in school so that, and some of them, it's just mental illness. They come from bad backgrounds, low income. So I just try to help them get the edge up so that they're not starting off life behind other people. I try to get in that real world. Yeah. So
that's commendable. 100.
And yeah, so it's fun because all the kids think I'm like young like them. So I'm like, perfect. I just infiltrated like the younger crowd, even though half the shit they talk about I don't get anymore.
No, I was gonna say, can you please teach us, because there's some I have an 8 and 10-year-old. I have 8 and 10-year-old sons. So there are words and phrases and things. What did I say? It was last week. I think I said I taught Morgan. I said that's sus, fam. That's sus, fam. He's like, what does that mean? I'm like,
that's sus. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sus.
Is that an
And
American?
so. No, that is no, it's suspicious.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like the young kid.
So sus is like, that's suspicious, that's fucked up, that's sketchy. It's something I hear a lot. Like, I don't know if it's technically referring to amongst us, but a lot of memes about it. And honestly, we have a website called Urban Dictionary, and sometimes I have to use that because I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Girl, same.
In the age of COVID, are people still referring to something being good as sick? Is that still happening? Because I don't know if that's
not
appropriate
really
anymore.
I don't think so. I haven't heard that in a minute. Yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
I think COVID fixed that situation.
That's funny.
Probably, but it just shows our age that, we're gnarly.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a little older, but I'm happy with my age. I'm totally okay with it. Love it. It's good.
All right. On that note, let's go to our first story about
Thank God
woman found guilty of second-degree murder and intentional child abuse for death of 2-month-old infant.
Great.
Speaking of the FBI, this actually comes from the FBI's press releases page. So this is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A federal jury on August 5th found Sophia Monique Zayas, 39, guilty of second-degree murder, intentional child abuse resulting in death, intentional child abuse resulting in great bodily harm, intentional child abuse not resulting in great bodily harm, and aiding and abetting. Zayas will remain in custody pending sentencing, which has not been scheduled. On February 19th, 2014, her husband, Peter Zayas, pleaded guilty to negligent child abuse resulting in great bodily harm. In his plea agreement, Peter Zayas admitted that between August 16th, 2007 and August 22nd, 2007, he permitted his infant to be in a situation that endangered her life, knowing that there was a foreseeable risk that she would be physically harmed or killed by leaving her in the care of Sophia Zayas, knowing that she had a history of alcohol abuse. Peter Zayas acknowledged that the infant sustained posterior transverse skull fractures, rib fractures, and radius and ulna fractures as a result of his negligence. At the time of the offenses, Peter Zayas was a sergeant with the U.S. Air Force and was stationed at Holloman Air Force Base. On October 2nd, 2018, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Previously, Sophia Zayas pleaded guilty on February 24, 2014, to negligent child abuse resulting in great bodily harm. However, in November 2015, her counsel filed a motion to withdraw her guilty plea, asserting that her plea was not knowing and voluntary following a change in the relevant child abuse law. The district court denied that motion on February 8, 2017. On September 27, 2018, she was sentenced to 15 years in prison, but successfully appealed the district court's decision to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. On February 6, 2020, the 10th Circuit remanded the case back to the district court with instructions to vacate her guilty plea. Sophia Zayas now faces the possibility of life in prison. So what I'm going to ask you, Michelle, so when people withdraw guilty pleas, isn't it too late for them? I mean, if they pled guilty, doesn't that kind of sabotage their efforts in the future to ever get a more lenient sentence? Yeah.
Good question.
You would think, but unfortunately, I mean, how often do we hear of serial killers and other people recanting stories after the fact, or maintaining innocence even after, evidence is proven against them that, you did this. There's no denying it. Beyond a reasonable doubt there's a reason that exists. And, just that kind of shit pissed me off. It's one thing
it's
to,
infuriating.
Attack and assault and hurt and kill an adult, but when it's someone who's literally newborn babies and 2 months old, they don't do anything. They're so helpless. You're basically beating up an American Girl doll. What the fuck?
Yeah, right. No kidding. So question for you. So you said that the father was charged, he got 15 years.
Yeah.
What was his charge?
So in his plea agreement, he admitted that between these two dates, he permitted his infant to be in a situation that.
So he just left the baby with the mom.
He knew,
and he was sentenced to 15. He knew that she was not.
She was alcoholic, and she's obviously mentally unstable and prone to violence. Yeah.
That's a pretty stiff sentence for that, in my opinion. Although he's 100%. That is his. Yeah. Yes, he's guilty for that.
Well, any child abuse charge.
But what choice do you have when you're a father? And this is, I don't know. I'm trying to put myself in that place, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but this is the mother of my child. She's having some mental issues. She's having this, but she's also you want to try to trust the mother of your child.
Right.
I don't know.
If it goes to trial.
It just makes you wonder what kind of resources they had available or didn't have available, that he may have felt like he didn't have any other options. And,
right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. What do you do?
Right. And people, who suffer from alcohol abuse and drug abuse and stuff like that, they mostly aren't continually in that state. They have it's like a roller coaster. They'll have their highs and lows, and sometimes they do temporarily, back off a little bit and tone down. And then all it takes is one bad day for them to go back through the cycle again. So, it could have been that, it may be that she was trying to redeem herself and he was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and just made the wrong decision at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just
But
that's
yeah,
a crazy sentence. I find that interesting that what state was that?
That was in New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
and it makes you
Okay.
wonder too, because they said that the laws had just changed, so maybe
Hmm.
they were coming down harder on them as like, if you do this, you're gonna get this. Like they were
Yeah, like
making
you
an
need to be
example
held
of them.
responsible for the
Yes,
safety of your child, which I have no problem
right,
with.
Well,
It's
this
just
this
right.
usually
child,
in this country, and Michelle, that's not usually the case, especially in that kind of a situation.
that child
Yeah,
was really very brutally abused. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think, Michelle? Do you think that she will get life?
hope so.
Because if it goes
I
to
honestly
trial,
would hope so. I
if
mean,
it
just
goes
the
to
extent of the
trial,
injuries, like
yeah.
It depends
I
on the
don't see
jury,
her.
man.
If it goes to
Yeah,
trial,
it,
I don't imagine she's going to do well at all. Yeah.
well, and if she ends up getting jail, I mean, it's one thing when, like I said, when you kill an adult, but when you harm children, that's held to a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
standard in prison,
that's
even
true.
too. So she's fucked no matter what she does.
Hmm. Yep,
And so
So,
absolutely.
before we move on to Rachel's first story, I just wanted to ask you, Michelle, how did you like the episode about Wesley Allen Dodd? How did you like
God,
him?
God, why do we have to talk about this again?
okay, which one was that? Because I've been binging these like lately, so they're all kind of just like jumping together.
So yeah, he murdered a couple. Well, he murdered three kids, and he believed in Satan, and he kept this journal and
Oh
that
yeah,
guy.
oh my god, that's
He was the like the worst possible. Like listening to that story, we talked about it last week, was he brutally tortured these babies.
right.
It was unlike anything I'd ever, well, not unlike anything I ever heard. I listen to true crime news all day, but it was just he had no um feeling about it. There was just no remorse. There was no. It was just another level of psychotic that I think I'd never heard before.
Well, in the fucked up, like I remember listening to the way he was going after the kid in the movie theater, and it's like, oh my god, like, and the fact that it can, him pretending to be the parent as he's dragging this kid, like, had they not intervened, they would have been witness to a murderer with his next victim.
Oh,
Like,
he was
Hmm.
so
how
crazy.
would that weigh on your
Right.
conscience? Like,
I
holy
couldn't.
moly.
You see something, say something. See something, say something.
Right.
I say
That's
that
why that
all
hand
the
gesture
time.
exists now. Have you guys heard about that new hand gesture they have that
No, what is
basically,
this?
so you'll have to pull it up on YouTube or TikTok, but like
Okay.
let's say a child was being abducted and they're not allowed to say anything because they're terrified of their abductor. They're
Oh,
Right.
supposed to try to like check you with their shoulder when they walk by so that you look at them. And then when
Interesting.
you walk past, they put their arm behind and they do a certain hand movement with their, like, they clasp their thumb and almost make a slow fist. And it's
I like
supposed to
this.
signify that they're in danger.
Okay, that's amazing. I will look that
Yeah.
up. That is fantastic, and my children need to know about it because I
Yes.
tell them, we drill it into our kids, and you have
Yeah.
a girl, and that's even more terrifying
Yeah.
because
Well,
I
I
have.
straight tell her when we're out, don't run away from me because people could take you.
Oh
And
yeah,
she knows.
sure. Yeah.
Like,
no, I
just
scare the
hearing
shit out of
that,
my
she's
kids.
like, no. Well,
No, I'm
it's
like, people will
crazy.
kill
You just
you. Don't you
never
dare walk
know.
away from me.
Yeah.
Like,
You just never know.
yeah,
But
for
stranger
sure.
danger only poses 10% of the threat. That's another thing, though.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So Rachel,
Look
what's
what,
your first story?
So I was gonna do this last week, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it this week. And I did this. I did another Slender Man story a couple of weeks ago, but this is another update about one of the girls who was convicted for the Slender Man slaying. And Michelle, cannot wait to hear what you think about this,
oh
and
boy.
if you
Oh.
have not already heard.
Oh,
So,
I know the story.
yeah, you know the story. So this is recent. It was a couple weeks ago. The teen involved in this Slender Man stabbing is being released from psychiatric care. So this was a couple weeks ago. On Thursday, a Wisconsin judge agreed that one of two teenagers convicted in the Slender Man stabbing would be released from a psychiatric hospital. Anissa Weir, who is now 19, has been at the Winnebago Mental Health Institute since 2017 after she was found guilty for attempting to kill her friend Peyton Leutner in order to appease the Slender Man, and keep him from harming her family. At the time, Weir was 12 years old. Weir was originally sentenced to 25 years in a psychiatric facility, but was released after less than 4 years on the grounds that, quote, she had made great progress with her treatment and was ready to re-enter society, end quote, people reported. In the letter obtained by WDJT TV, Weir wrote that she was not done with her treatment, but that she had, quote, exhausted all the resources available to me at the Winnebago Mental Institute. I am to become a productive member of society. If I am to become a productive member of society, I need to be part of society, end quote, she said. The prosecution countered her petition via a statement arguing that her mind is still immature and she is susceptible to dangerous influences, according to a report from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. But a judge found her to be functioning very well, citing reports from her doctors, and ordered her release within 60 days. She will be monitored in some form until she's 37. In 2009, a picture of the fictional humanoid character Slender Man won a Photoshop contest and quickly took over the internet. Depictions of Slender Man changed, as did his legend, including the belief that he had the power to control minds. Weir, along with her friend Morgan Geyser, who was also 12 at the time, believes Slender Man was real and lived in a mansion in northern Wisconsin. In an effort to appease Slender Man, they believed that if they killed Leutner, they would become his proxies. So on May 31st, 2014, the girls lured Leutner into the park in Waukesha, Milwaukee, and stabbed her 19 times. Geyser used a kitchen knife while Weir cheered and urged her on. At the time, despite the girls being sixth graders, Geyser and Weir were tried in adult court. Weir was initially charged with attempted first-degree homicide, but after a jury deemed her mentally ill at the time of the attack, she was charged with attempted second-degree homicide, a lesser charge. Weir, who obtained her high school degree and has plans to attend college, said in her letter that she is, quote, committed to using this negative situation and publicity for something good. I intend to give back to my community by doing good within it and hopefully healing the wounds I've inflicted on a lot of people, end quote. Quote, I thank everyone for their time and patience, she concluded, and I ask that I be given a chance to prove that I am who I say I am, in which I say, fuck you.
Well, you know, so many of these murderers are really good at sweet talking, smooth talking. They're manipulative. They know how to work the system and convince
She's
people. You know,
only 19 years old. She murdered someone at 12.
Yeah.
There's
How
no
did they not
way.
realize mental illness played a factor in this, considering she thought Slender Man was a cheesehead?
Thank you.
Yeah.
She was 12. They're letting her out at 19 when she was, what was it? Hang on. How many? 25 years she was sentenced to be in a psychiatric facility. They're letting her out. You know what? If anything, I'm putting this all on y'all because absolutely not. No. In my opinion.
And it sucks too from like a legal standpoint because like with her being so young, like at the time of the crime, you know, obviously our brains aren't fully developed and teenagers are psycho anyway in their own right. Correct. Without adding murder and craziness into the factor. But it's like, it's so hard from a legal and like the, you know, standpoint of, for basic human, you know, rights and stuff. Like when people are locked up for stuff like that, and it is like mental illness related and things like that, and they do make progress, it's like, how can, you know, there's no real way to prove that the progress they're making is legit and they're not just playing a role so that they can get out and do their own thing and not be monitored the way they were. It's
Michelle,
like,
when you were 12,
if she, yeah.
Would you have ever stabbed somebody 19 times and egged that on and laughed about it? Like,
I hadn't even kissed a boy when I was 12.
Thank
There
you.
was no way in
Same.
hell.
Like, that's just, I mean, that's my thing. I'm like, that's a mental instability. Like, that's a severe mental instability.
Yeah. The worst thing I did was call people a bitch in my diary. That was the
Correct.
extent of my
Girl.
preteen rage. Like,
Love you. Same.
Yeah. I feel
Mhm.
it. We'll be Facebook buddies later. But yeah, so it's hard for the girl because in the event that she does have that concept of right and wrong and that she knows she messed up and she wants to be redeemed, you know, being let out, I want
Do you think that was the right decision?
It's hard to say because it's like she's got to prove everybody wrong. She's got to prove the naysayers wrong, and then she's got to prove, you know, that she is capable of this, so she can't prove the court's wrong. And it's
she's got a chance. I mean, she can get out and try, I guess, but it's just, for me, legally, that's not enough time.
What resources were exhausted in only 4 years, whereas some people spend their entire lives in an institution.
Amen. That is a good point.
I know it's all case by case, but still, like, you know, what more couldn't be done for her? And to only, you know, be obviously, you know, with that kind of trauma, I wouldn't, you know, what age did they say they were going to stop monitoring at? Like 37?
37.
39?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So who knows?
Crazy.
It's such a gamble because if you let her out and she offends again, it's going to look bad on the court system. Even, you know, there's no winning with this one. And even if she does get out and is successful, she's going to have that shadow looming over her as part of her past. Like, I don't think she's going to, you know, people are going to redeem her from that.
Well, I mean, when you stab someone 19 times, they pretty much become a colander at that point. So, I mean, that's a pretty vicious killing story for the court.
I mean, that goes the passion. The more stab wounds you have, there's more, it's more personal. You don't do that to someone just 'cause.
Right. And look at Casey Anthony and how well she did after she got off, you know.
Oh, yeah. Just look at her search history, right?
Exactly.
My next story is, the headline is, Georgia teacher accused of starting fire, shooting gun inside middle school. I did a story last week, I think, about a teacher that snapped, and I'm not surprised that they snap because they deal with a lot of bullshit.
Oh, yeah, we talked about how crazy, like how we love teachers. We're like, we pray, and seeing how my school's starting in my town tomorrow. My kids are back to school tomorrow.
Like, I'm surprised this doesn't happen.
I praise you all.
Yeah.
So you're heroes.
Antonio Bailey reportedly placed on administrative leave a day before incident. So a Georgia teacher is now facing multiple charges after being accused of starting a fire and shooting a gun inside a middle school near Atlanta. The incident at the Chapel Hill Middle School in Decatur, allegedly involving Antonio Bailey, happened last Thursday, one day after he had been placed on administrative leave. DeKalb County School District Police conducted a criminal investigation into the gunfire and arson at Chapel Hill Middle. The investigation revealed evidence to secure a criminal arrest warrant for Mr. Antonio Bailey for the charges of arson in the first degree, criminal damage to property in the second degree, and possession of a firearm during a commission of a felony. Mr. Bailey is in police custody. A neighbor told the station they heard 4 to 5 gunshots Thursday night coming from the school's offices. It was not immediately clear how much damage the incident caused or what the motive was. There were no reports of injuries. So it used to be the students bringing the guns. Now the teachers are snapping and they're shooting the guns. Michelle,
where do you... a resignation letter.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, yeah. Where do you stand on gun rights, Michelle?
Oh, that's such a loaded question. No,
it really is.
Especially in America, yeah.
I was always a person who liked shooting guns for fun. Target practice was always fun, but to use it against another human being, I don't know that I could do it. I've been threatened with gun violence before, so it's like,
wow.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms. We'll get into that another story.
Yeah.
Huh?
Were you mugged or something like that, or?
No, my stepdad was severe into alcoholism, and he was very emotionally abusive and controlling. And after a really strong conversation, he got me to fight him when he was drunk. And when I left and came back to the house after, trying to cool things down, he wouldn't let me in the house at all, and he threatened to shoot me and everyone that was with me. So, yeah, I was like, oh, shit. So, yeah. It was
Yeah, we should talk offline.
Yeah, that can taint your feelings about guns for sure. Yeah.
I got some stories.
I can see where there's necessity for guns for hunting and protection and things like that, but I mean, I also see this. I see every side, but I don't necessarily agree with it. Like, have you guys ever watched Jim Jeffries, the comedian, and his stance on gun control?
Who was it again?
I don't think I have, and I love stand up. So
he's awesome. Yeah.
Jeffries. Jeffrey. What's his first name again?
Jim.
His name is Jim Jeffries.
Jim Jeffries. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I stand with him on that. Let's just put it that way. Like, I don't own any guns. I have a taser at home. I have a knife and a pepper spray. If someone's going to be crazy enough to enter my home, they're going to get some face full of me coming at them. And how scary is it to see a 12-year-old swinging like a wine bottle at you,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's going
to be intense.
As far as using your gun against a tyrannical government, you know how many fucking guns your government has? Most countries wouldn't go toe-to-toe with America militarily. So I don't think if you and your buddies have like 50 guns, you're going to be able to go against the Army, the Marines.
Oh, we're going to piss off so many people right now, especially in Florida.
I mean, that's not going to work. Not with all those different agencies coming at you with guns.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose any more listeners. So, Rachel, what's your next story?
Listen, guys. Well, if you want, I don't know why all these mom stories keep popping up for me, but I'm sorry, not sorry. Y'all know I bring the negative. Okay, so it's happening.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah, I know. That's why I love you. All right. So this is Washington State. A Washington mom was charged with murder after her 18-year-old twins with autism starved to death.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know, Michelle. I'm sorry.
What the fuck?
I know. I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
Well, like, why?
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
Boy.
It's bad. Okay.
It's Humo.
So, it's Humo. Welcome to the Human Monsters podcast, everyone. This is True Crime News. A Washington State mom had been charged with 2 counts of murder after deaths of her adult twins who had autism. According to a police report first obtained by the Kitsap Sun, Sherry Lynn Hill checked herself into a hospital in Silverdale, Washington last Tuesday. She allegedly told staff members that she was feeling suicidal and then told them that her 18-year-old twins were dead. The bodies of the twins, Chelsea and Connor Hill, were later found in her home. A cause of death was not immediately determined. The twins, who were nonverbal and had severe autism. Hill allegedly told the hospital staff that she had neglected Chelsea and Connor and that she couldn't even recall the last time she had fed them. The police report alleges that Hill told authorities that she had, quote, lost track of the days and believed she had starved them to death, end quote.
Oh
Hill
my
also,
God.
yeah, she said that. Hill also allegedly told authorities that she had attempted suicide 6 times in the previous month. She claimed that she hadn't slept in 3 days. When she entered the teenagers' rooms on Thursday, Hill said that she found her children, quote, cold and blue. According to the police report, she covered them in blankets and did not call for help. An autopsy of the twins is pending. Hill allegedly told a social worker that she had not purposefully harmed her children. Quote, this is how crazy I am. She allegedly said, quote, I need to own up to my responsibilities. I can't believe I let this happen.
Manipulative.
Yep.
They're not Tamagotchis. You just don't forget to fucking feed them and then act shocked when they die.
Exactly. And so the last sentence is Hill, 55, has not entered a plea. She is being held without bond, and court records do not list an attorney authorized to speak on her behalf.
Well, one flaw in the social service system is that they just feel like, well, the kids, they have to go with the mother, and they'll even overlook certain, offenses in their behavioral record. But not all women are fit to be parents. So that's
clearly not a lot since the stories I've been doing lately. Christ on a bike.
Yeah. So I mean that they just place way too much stock in that notion.
Mm-hmm.
So. All right, so
and she was obviously mentally ill, so
yeah,
ugh.
Right, and then to nonchalantly be like, "Well, I gotta own up to my shit," Dude,
I need to own up to my responsibilities. I can't believe I let this happen. Like, who says that?
Manipulation.
And then to just not call for help, like what? Were you scared you were gonna get in trouble sooner? Like the truth is gonna come out.
Yep.
And if it was that hard to take care of them, why not reach out and try to get assistance?
Get help. Try to get help.
Or
you
tell
did
someone,
nothing.
Tell a neighbor, a family member, someone.
Anyone. You did nothing. You did.
How long? Isn't there like a rule of threes when it comes to starvation and dehydration? Like you can't go more than like 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food?
Correct.
3
yes,
weeks,
ma'am.
21 days.
Yep.
Like seriously?
Yep.
Yeah,
insane.
No, there's no excuse for that. That's bullshit.
Agreed. I love her. She might
I
become
can't
our...
go 24 hours without stuff in my face, let alone I couldn't imagine doing that to my kid. Like, come on.
I mean,
they're like, I give them a snack 5 seconds later. I'm hungry. You just ate. How are you hungry right now? What is wrong with you?
Dude, my kid was sick earlier today, and she was in the bathroom, and she's like, my tummy hurts so bad. I need to eat healthy food. I'm going to get some chicken nuggets. I was like, no, the fuck you're not. Like, are you kidding me?
My kid has stomach issues as well, so he's like, Mom, my belly hurts, but I want an ice cream. Like, okay, that's not going to help your stomach, sir. Sorry.
My daughter told her grandma that she refused to eat vegetables because she could get sick and die.
Oh, my God. Out of the mouths of babes.
Well, I was disappointed today to find out that this article that said a McDonald's employee tried to smuggle 80 pounds worth of McNuggets up his ass, was caught stealing, got fired. But it turned out to be fake news. Can you believe that?
Morgan was so upset about it.
Nope.
You're the most fucked up person.
This website called Snopes.com. They're good at fair.
I love Snopes. Yeah.
So yeah. All right, so,
Morgan, what you got?
Well, I got another dead kid for you, actually.
Oh, fantastic! Great.
Yeah, Indiana.
So is my next story.
Indiana woman convicted in murder of 10-year-old stepdaughter, found strangled, stuffed in trash bag. So yes, she's been convicted of the August 2019 murder of her 10-year-old stepdaughter. Was found strangled and stashed inside plastic trash bags in a shed behind the family home. The jury deliberated for just 3 hours on Friday before finding Amanda D. Carmack of Gas City guilty of murder, strangulation, neglect of a dependent resulting in death, and domestic battery resulting in death to a person under 14. Carmack initially reported 10-year-old Skylee Carmack missing on August 31st, 2019, hours after the child was already dead. So this was kind of a Casey Anthony type deal.
I had this in my, I just deleted it because I had this in my, my list. Yeah.
After a 4-day search for Skylee, Carmack confessed to the killing at a police station. Investigators have said they then discovered Skylee's body stuffed into a plastic garbage bag and hidden inside a shed behind the family's Gas City home. A pair of colored pants were tied around her neck, the Indianapolis Star reported at the time. Carmack first went on trial in November, but it ended with a mistrial after several people involved in the case tested positive for COVID-19. The jury was scheduled to reconvene on Monday to decide whether Carmack should be sentenced to life in prison without parole. So this is what evolutionary psychologists refer to as the Cinderella effect, where someone who has been given with the care of a child who is not their own biologically, thousands of years ago, they would chase them off or kill them, but apparently that instinct is still around today. So that must have been what was in play here. So what do you think?
My own stepmom wasn't that crazy.
Yeah, You ever watched? To take a break from the horror for a second. You ever watched those adoption videos on YouTube where like someone asks their step parent to adopt them?
Oh my God, I can't even. Uh, First of all, I cry over everything.
Oh, it'll hit
So
your feels. Yeah.
I'm a lioness and I'm a badass, and I try to act like I'm hard, but then, I cry 50 times a day. My kids are like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, because there's something on TikTok, like, or I watched a commercial. I mean, hello, anything makes me cry.
Well, these videos will definitely get the waterworks going. That's for sure.
100%. But I also my father is my stepfather, and he has raised me as his own my entire life, and I am extremely close with him. So I've been blessed with that.
You can still get the adoption done as an adult. A lot of those videos are actually about that. You could do it. That'd be nice.
I don't want to say anything on social. Yeah, because I have a plan. I have a plan.
Well, whenever his next birthday is, there's an idea. I'm not saying she's going to do it. I'm just saying there's an idea.
Dad says he listens, but he probably doesn't because he's like listening to like Star Trek and other crap. So
yeah,
it's fun.
This would be the one episode he'd listen and he's like, "What the hell with all the dead babies?
Like, what are you talking about?" Yeah,
like that's all you're talking about.
No, he'd love it. My dad's great. We talk about everything. Okay, so I have more dead children stories. So Michelle, you picked a really great week to join us.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I'm not. This is what we do. All right, Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore aunt arrested with decomposing bodies of children in trunk.
Whoa.
Yep. You're welcome. A 33-year-old woman was taken into custody last week after police reportedly discovered the bodies of 2 young kids in her trunk while performing a traffic stop. The Baltimore County Police Department released a statement saying late Wednesday night, officers from the Essex precinct pulled over Nicole Johnson on Eastern Avenue near Wagner's Lane. According to the Baltimore Sun, Johnson's car allegedly had false registration and tags, and she was driving without a license. First of all, how in the actual fuck are you? Did I lose you guys?
No, go on.
Okay, good. Are you going to be driving with dead children in your trunk with a false registration and tags and no license?
Well, I guess if you would kill someone, I guess you'd do that. I mean, okay. After that, I mean,
that's ballsy as hell. The Sun, the Sun Times, citing charging documents, reports officers told Johnson her car would be towed and she would have to appear in court.
Oh wait a second. Michelle got knocked out. I didn't.
That's what happened.
That's why it sounded so silent. Yeah.
I was like, what happened? We'll add Michelle back in.
We're just dialing now.
Do I sound like hell?
Hello.
Oh, hey, sorry about that. Yeah, Skype is being fucky today.
Skype is always fucky, by the way.
Oh, always,
it's
yeah.
Tuesday. It's second Monday, so almost.
I guess so, yeah.
No, technology today has been not okay.
Well, I mean, it's been used more than ever because of COVID, but you'd think it would have become more efficient.
No. It's gotten worse.
Yeah, I guess so. Too many people using it, maybe that's what it is, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So where did you last hear? Okay, so
she got pulled over for the traffic stop.
Yep. Okay. So the Baltimore County Police Department released a statement saying late Wednesday night, officers from the Essex precinct pulled over Nicole Johnson on Eastern Avenue near Wagner's Lane. According to the Baltimore Sun, Johnson's car allegedly had false registration and tags, and she was driving without a license. In which I said, how are you driving with dead people in your car with a false registration and tags and without a license. That is extremely
There's
ballsy.
no red flags in this story.
No, what in the actual hell? The Sun, citing charging documents, reports officers told Johnson her car would be towed and she would have to appear in court. Johnson allegedly told the officer, quote, "It don't matter, I won't be here in 5 days," end quote. She also allegedly said, "Y'all gonna see me on the news making my big debut." Officers reportedly noticed the smell of decomposition, then discovered the bodies when they were clearing the trunk to prepare it for towing, the Baltimore Sun reported. According to the Sun, one body was in a suitcase and another was in a plastic bag. Johnson allegedly tried fleeing the scene on foot. Baltimore County Police identified the victims, who were siblings and Johnson's niece and nephew, as 7-year-old Jocelyn Johnson and 5-year-old Larry O'Neill. Jocelyn and Larry had reportedly been in her care since 2019. According to charging documents cited by the Baltimore Sun, Johnson allegedly told investigators Jocelyn's body had been in her trunk since May 2020.
And what was the date when
this just happened?
Oh my God.
Jocelyn's body
was about this story online.
Yeah. Jocelyn's body was in the suitcase, and police said she died after Johnson allegedly hit her several times, causing Jocelyn to fall and hit her head. Larry died about 2 months ago, the Sun reports. Johnson said the boy told her he was tired, then laid down and never woke up, according to charging documents. His body was found in a tote bag in the trunk next to his deceased sister. Autopsies determined the 7-year-old weighed, The 7-year-old weighed 18 pounds when she died, and the 5-year-old weighed 21 pounds. Police said the children's biological mother was unable to provide for the children and left them with her sister. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner is working to determine the causes of death. The causes of death are fucking starvation or murder. Baltimore County Court records show Johnson was booked on 10 charges, including 4 counts of first-degree child abuse, 2 counts of burying and disposing a body in an unauthorized place, and she was held without bond.
God, man. Well, I mean, what was even left of their bodies by then? You know, they must have been skeletal.
They were.
I couldn't imagine seeing that.
And
that ruined my life.
How lame is it? The cops see the bodies, and you're in trouble for killing 2 little children. You're gonna run? Oh, they'll never catch me now. You know? Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure they'll just give up, right? And, what the fuck? Let them go. You know?
So they're not gonna look in my trunk, like.
No.
It's interesting because it specifically says the autopsies determined that the 7-year-old girl weighed 18 pounds when she died, not when she was found.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing to me.
And the whole thing is the mom could not care for the children, so she handed them off to someone who she trusted. If this aunt really didn't give a shit about these kids, why did, as much as it would have sucked for the kids but they would have had a better opportunity with someone else. Whether it's another family member, like children's services sucks. You never want to have to get them involved, unfortunately.
I think that would have been better in this situation, to be honest.
Yeah, no, at least they would have been alive. Mm-hmm. But to deprive them of that option anyway, like, Jesus Christ, what is with these people not wanting to feed their kids?
I'm telling you, do you know how many stories it blows my mind, the amount of child abuse stories that I find on a regular. This just came up today. This is a new story. The boy's body had been in her trunk since 2020. How in the fuck are you driving around with a child in your trunk?
Yeah.
For that long.
Even if they're alive, that's pretty fucked up,
And then to talk about making her big debut, like, what the fuck are you getting at? Like, What was your end game?
Mental illness is run rampant, and BetterHelp.com, y'all. Seriously, please get help. Like, honestly, it's insane. It's crazy.
Well, my next story involves
here we go.
But you're going to like the outcome of this one, I promise. This has a different twist to it.
Go ahead,
So
Morgan.
Shane Goldsby asked for a new cellmate. Goldsby, 25, was in prison for a stabbing, stealing a police car, and injuring a state trooper in Washington state. His cellmate, Robert Munger, 70, was in for child rape, child molestation, and possession of child pornography. One of Munger's victims was Goldsby's little sister, who was still a minor, the Seattle Times reports. Washington's Department of Corrections didn't approve the housing change. Goldsby said living with his sister's rapist was torture.
Wow.
He said, I wasn't stable at that point. I was getting to that point because he kept wanting to give me details about what happened. Now, Goldsby has been sentenced to 25 more years in prison for killing Munger. Court documents say Goldsby hit Munger in the face several times, stomping on his head when he fell. He says he didn't mean to kill Munger and that he wanted him to spend his whole life in prison. In a statement in court, read by his lawyer because he was too overcome to read it himself, Goldsby said, I cannot imagine what it would be like to lose a loved one in this kind of way. I am so sorry, and I hope you're able to heal from what I caused. In an interview a year ago, shortly after Munger's death, Goldsby addressed his little sister. I hope to God that I see you again. I hope to God that if I don't see you again, then you know why I did what I did.
What was his original sentence?
He was just in for stabbing, stealing a police car, and injuring a state trooper, so I'm sure he must have gotten a few years. That wouldn't give you like 25 years, but I don't know what that would get you. How much time do you think you'd get for that, Michelle?
Oh, I have no idea. It's going to be, it's all going to be dependent on, it's all case by case, and every jurisdiction's different. So it's really hard to pinpoint that.
It depends on state laws. And
is stabbing always attempted murder?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question, actually.
I mean, because
that is a good question.
I'm about to Google that.
Please do, because that's a really good question,
if I don't know the answer to.
Because I have a Swiss Army knife, but that's not quite enough to kill anyone, I don't think. So.
I mean,
but if you hit someone just right, I mean, if you hit the carotid artery, you can hit that with a fucking butter knife if you tried.
Slice the throat open, honey.
Yeah, if you learn a bit more about anatomy, I guess, you could. Stealing a police car, I mean, grand theft auto is a pretty big charge if it's a police car. I guess maybe you might get like, 5 years for that?
It sounded like he was kind of like, from what you read, though, he was like genuinely sorry, but shouldn't be.
Well, he didn't. Yeah, he said he didn't mean to kill the guy; he just wanted to torture him, basically.
But I would have meant to kill him. So
technically, stabbing, it sounds like, depending on where the wounds were and like how many wounds, it could just be aggravated assault, possibly with a deadly weapon, just depending on. Again, every state charges stuff differently. Sometimes they lump it all into one big charge. Sometimes they break it down to give a longer sentence. So they'll give you so much time for one thing and then just kind of tap into it. As far as do I feel bad for him fucking stomping in that douchebag's head? No.
Yeah.
But, because even in his statement, he's showing remorse that he acted in a fit of rage. But given the circumstances, it was his sister's, it was the offender. Like, that guy legitimately impacted that other guy's family. And then to sit there and gloat about it and not be remorseful and have to live in such close quarters day after day with that person.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like,
that's its own kind of torture.
Any normal person would snap at some point.
Absolutely.
Everyone's got their tipping point. And especially with, like, those kinds of situations, like, makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel bad he got additional time added, but honestly, in prison, if it wasn't him, it would have been someone else.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I agree with him in that, death is not a torture. It's not a punishment. It's a relief of punishment. Right. You're not, suffering through prison for more decades. that's definitely worse than dying. The death penalty, I don't think you're not teaching them a lesson. I mean, most of these guys die and they don't really repent. So,
Right.
yeah, keeping them in prison, that's the punishment.
But then we have to pay for them.
Well, you do, but I mean,
Yeah,
that's your tax dollars at work. So.
And that's the thing too with the American criminal system. I don't know how. This is one of the things going back to like what I learned in college. I studied about our federal prison systems, the history of policing, racial disparity, juvenile offenders, adult offenders, mafia, like different types of crime in general, as well as natural disasters. And one thing that they touched base on is that the reason the death penalty is not used more frequently anymore, other than just the whole human rights aspect, is the fact that it's cheaper to keep the offenders alive and just on death row than it is to carry out our death penalty.
Really?
Situation.
Yeah.
Yes. Which I don't.
Plus we have private prisons, so they're making money off of our inmates. They're not making money if you die.
And here's the thing, though. There's such rampant overcrowding in those prisons anyway.
Oh, they're horrible.
25%.
And this is the whole thing with, like, the death penalty. It's like, if we have it and we use it, like, wouldn't that ease up? Not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, like, it would, ease up the overcrowding in the prisons. And
they wouldn't get paid.
The whole aspect of the capital punishment, like, are we really teaching people a lesson by just killing everybody? And where's the humanity? And it's there's so many angles to it, but still, like,
agreed.
If we're not, if the prisons aren't killing the prisoners are killing each other,
Yep.
like,
well,
and it's the environment that they're in. It just breeds evil and hate. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's definitely not, prison should be trying to get people better.
Reform.
And that is one reform. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. To be reformative. It 1000% is not.
Well, 25%.
It is bred to hold you down.
25% of all incarcerated people in the world are in the United States, and the purely punitive approach is not really working that well. So.
No, it doesn't.
No,
our system is very broken and very faulted, and there's plenty of room for reform, as well as more incorporation of healthcare and just mental health,
yes.
capability. There's a lot of talk of, when police are being called to certain, situations like domestic violence, that they get people who are in, healthcare involved, as well as counselors or someone, the caseworker, someone to go out there and possibly intervene without additional violence, or, the police kind of just jumping the gun and,
they're not
making a mess of things, essentially. Because sometimes the police try to help, but they're not trained to do that. So there's limitations, and it can cause things to get messy and ugly. And, in prisons, there's not a lot of support. There's not a lot of money. Everything's hushed, it's all privately owned, so we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We know a lot of the time it's not good. So I don't know.
I can tell you it's not good. But that's exactly it. You're having police officers go to situations that they are not capable of handling.
Right.
And
they handle wrong, but it's not their fault.
It's not their fault. 100% not their fault.
Yeah.
No, they are not trained in mental health. These are people that are mentally ill. There's so many of them, especially now during like COVID and all that. They don't know how to handle these situations. They're not psychologists. They're not psychologists. And to de-escalate a situation, they're not trained to de-escalate mentally ill people. They're trained to like stop violence, exactly. Yeah. And that's the problem, and
they're reactive, whereas healthcare is more proactive.
Correct.
It's about getting better and preventing things from going bad, whereas the cops have to step in because it's bad and they got to prevent it from completely spiraling out.
Exactly. So. I 100% agree. Yep. It's sad, and it's not their fault.
All right, Rachel, what's your next story?
Okay. Grandfather pleads guilty in torture and murder of an all-American boy.
Is the boy
So
over?
sunshiny.
I'm very
Yeah.
much. I'm
Is
so
the, is the
sunshine.
is the boy an adult by any chance?
Nope.
Okay. Here we go.
Montana. Montana man has pleaded guilty to felony charges related to the torture and murder of his grandson. On Friday, James Sasser Jr. admitted to felony deliberate homicide, tampering with a witness, and criminal child endangerment, according to the Bozeman Daily Chronicle. Sasser Jr. is one of 5 accused of having a part in the murder of 12-year-old James Alex Hurley. Quote, there's a handful of cases that stick with you, that sort of haunt you, former Gallatin Sheriff Brian Gutkin said. This is one of those that I'll never forget. Alex, who was originally from Cleveland, Texas, lived with his paternal grandparents in Montana. According to Houston's ABC 13 News, the boy had moved to Montana to be with his father and stayed with his paternal grandparents until his father's death in 2018. Alex's father, Tommy Tate, died from infection after he was rendered a paraplegic from an ATV accident. Alex was found dead 2 years later on February 3rd, 2020. According to KULR News, the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Investigators allegedly found cell phone videos that showed beatings of the boy carried out by Sasser Jr., his wife, Patricia Batts, and their 14-year-old son. Alex was allegedly beaten regularly with a wooden paddle, according to KULR. He was also made to stand and sit in strenuous positions for prolonged periods of time. The boy was deprived of food, according to ABC 13. Batts, Alex's grandmother, faces the death penalty if convicted on charges of deliberate homicide, aggravated kidnapping, criminal child endangerment, and strangulation of a partner or family member. The 14-year-old son, Hurley's paternal uncle, was charged as a juvenile and pleaded guilty to felony deliberate homicide, according to the Chronicle. He was sentenced to a detention center until the age of 18. Also charged with Hurley's then 17-year-old paternal aunt, who was also tried as a juvenile and pleaded guilty to felony aggravated kidnapping, according to the Chronicle. She was sentenced to a detention center until age 21. These are a bunch of really, really sound teenagers.
Wow.
Both the teenage uncle
and video it.
I can't. Both the teenage uncle and aunt will be on probation until the age of 25. A 5th person, an 18-year-old not related to the victim, pleaded guilty to assault on a minor and received a sentence of 5 years, deferred upon court-mandated counseling. Thank you. According to the Chronicle, he did not live in the home with the family. Relatives allegedly duct taped Alex to themselves in an attempt to keep the boy from running away. On the night of his death, Alex was duct taped to his 14-year-old uncle. Quote, I woke up and the duct tape was almost off, said the 14-year-old in a written statement. Quote, I retaped it with one little line of tape, and that Alex moved and my arm touched the heater. I got up and started punching him. I pushed him and fell into the wall. His head crashed into the wall and I punched him and pushed him over. I caused him serious bodily injury and I believe that led to Alex's death. The teen continued. Alex died sometime that next night. End quote. When entering his guilty plea with the court, Sasser Jr. told the judge that Hurley's death was, quote, the result of aggravated assault by his 14-year-old son. Quote, that's the strongest proof of guilt known to the criminal law, sir, said the Gallatin County Circuit Court Judge John Brown. Alexis's mother, Alicia Davis, was in Texas during the 2 years of abuse, but said she tried to get the boy home. Quote, Alex was an all-American boy, a true Texan. Davis wrote in a statement to ABC 13. He loved his life and helping others. David encouraged others to do something Davis encouraged others to do something if they suspect child abuse. Quote, please talk to your kids or other children in your life that are dear to you about child abuse. Our kids see and hear things that adults don't. We as a nation need to stop turning a blind eye when it comes to a child's well-being. Sasser Jr.'s sentencing is scheduled for Tuesday, November 9th, 2021.
Damn. Wow. Duct tape is never applied to another human being for any good reason, is it?
It's funny. I have a duct tape story as my last story.
Oh, you have a duct tape. You have another duct tape story?
I do.
Damn.
It's Michelle's Ohio, Florida story.
Oh. Oh.
It's a little lighter, so.
Well, is it Gorilla Tape? Is someone?
No, it's straight out duct tape. It's a good story.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
I'll end with that one. It's a good one.
So wait, basically, in this past story, kids murdered kids. That's what it was.
Yep, correct.
Man, that's
with the help of with their father. The help of their father.
Wow, that's fucked. Well, hopefully, maybe some people should be sterilized. It's not so. You
just know you've really fucked up when you have to duct tape someone to another person to keep them from escaping from you.
We just blithely.
Maybe that's like a hint.
Yeah.
We call those red flags.
Red flags. A little bit of a red flag.
A little bit of a smidge. Something could be up.
We just blithely neuter and spade cats and dogs. But with these kinds of people, we just let them go and they could reproduce.
Yeah, but we do trap humans.
Yeah,
in a way.
We do.
Okay, my next.
We just don't. Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
No. I want to hear that. I was excited about where that was going.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I didn't have an afterthought with that. The ADHD kicked in, so I'm like, okay, new story. Let's hear about duct tape.
Hi, we're the same person. Okay, go.
So my next one is actually a Florida story, Rachel.
Here we go.
The headline is woman skinny dipping in stranger's pool wouldn't leave.
You guys, I'm sorry. Why are you doing a story about me?
Well,
I didn't think this would be out.
Yeah. What were you thinking, Rachel? Oh my God.
Didn't know they reported on that.
I know you don't have a pool, but come on, A Florida man returning home from a doctor's appointment found a stranger skinny dipping in his backyard swimming pool. At first, the man only noticed clothes scattered across his lawn. Then he saw the woman in his pool and called deputies. Sheriff's officials said the woman was hostile and told sheriff's deputies to leave her alone. They asked her several times to get out of the pool and get dressed. She finally followed their orders, but resisted when the deputies tried to detain her. She pulled away and said she was not going anywhere. Deputies took her to the Charlotte County Jail, but
oh my God, that's near me.
That's near you, but she wouldn't tell them her name. Officials eventually identified her through previous jail booking photos. The 42-year-old woman was charged with trespassing and resisting a law enforcement officer without violence. The way I see this story, it's through a very phallogenic lens. So this guy wandered into a real-life scene from what shall we say, an adult film. This is like so many porn.
Like you wish you walked into this in your life.
Yeah, but I mean, normally it's complete fantasy. This guy finds it in his own home. He's like, "You get your dirty hide out of my swimming pool." He didn't try to take advantage of it or anything. So
we'll see, and we know it's not me because I would have not reacted in anger. I would have been like, "Yo, y'all just come in. Come on, everybody. We're just chilling."
The mental image I have of like a bunch of cops standing around a big ass pool yelling at some lady on a fucking floaty like, "Get out of the pool." She's just like, "No," and then paddles away to the other side of the pool.
The neighbor died.
I'm trying not to wake up my whole household laughing right now. Like that shit just that makes me giggle. That's fantastic. Like, and then it's like you can't do anything. You can't tase her. You'll fucking kill her. Like she's in the pool. Like,
she's in water.
If I were her, I'd just protest and stay in the pool till someone jumped in.
Tell him a prune.
At that point, just make it difficult for him. Keep paddling away. Just go.
They asked her to get out. They didn't demand that she got out. There's a difference.
Ma'am, can you please get out of the pool?
Can you please get out of the pool? No.
Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna chill in here.
Well, a lot of swimming pool trespassing goes on, doesn't it? Like teenagers sneaking into people's pools sometimes. Doesn't that happen?
Bro, I have 100% snuck into people's pool. I did. Well, it wasn't somebody else's pool. It was a communal pool, and it was during a hurricane. Okay, so technically,
very smart.
Yeah, it was really super smart. You guys, we were on point.
So what? The water's being whipped about, and you're trying to swim through it? You mean, or?
Well, I mean, it's just a pool. I mean, God, what hurricane was that? I was like in my 20s, so this was
there like big waves going on down the pool and shit?
No, no. There was definitely tree branches, and there was no one on the road. We should not have been out. I'll tell you that. It was like 60, 70 mile an hour winds, and we're like, let's go to the community pool and like climb the fence and go swimming. But hey, we were fine. We lived. Okay.
Well, I guess you're kind of inured to hurricanes at this point, right? You've lived through so many of them.
Oh yeah, totally. They're hilarious. Our afternoon, I'm not even kidding you. I'm not joking. Our afternoon thunderstorms are more terrifying than most of our hurricanes.
Are you in like a part of Florida that gets like those 4 p.m. storms like every day?
Every single day, and they're terrifying. Like the other day, I was telling Morgan, my tree in the front, like 2 6-foot pieces of my tree came down. I think lightning struck it, because I live in like the lightning capital of the world. Legitimately, I'm not making that up. So it is nonstop, and wind is blowing like 40, 50 mile an hour gusts. It's crazy. And it lasts for like an hour, and then it's over. But you're like, holy crap. So when a hurricane comes through, it's just like, that's all right.
Today was kind of an anomaly in my hometown where I was from, because my friend's dad showed a video. They had 5 separate tornado sirens go off throughout the day. 5.
That's terrifying.
He was keeping track. And then, of course, he pans over, and like all the neighborhood dudes are just sitting on their porches watching for something. Because, you know, we're Midwest. We're, tornadoes. That's our hurricane.
I am terrified of tornadoes.
They never
I'm okay with hurricanes.
Hardly ever where we were from. Like, you would see more funnels than you would actually see tornadoes. I think I've been through 2 tornadoes in my life, but they were nowhere near me. So it wasn't like the movie Twister. It wasn't. It's really windy. You see some trees get messed around. Like, we've been fortunate where we grew up, where, shit would get crazy, but not to where you're like praying because you're like, oh God, this is it,
I have been through several. One, I thought my dad was dying, because we were camping, and we all had to go into this little like cement toilet area on the campground. And my dad and my uncle thought they were badasses, and went outside, and we're like, why? I was like a little kid. And so then they came banging on the door, and the people in the bathroom thought that it was the storm, and like almost didn't let them in until my mom went over there, like, no, let them in. And they came. We walked out, and it was one of the worst tornadoes that had come through the area. So they almost literally died in a tornado.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then we had actually one in Florida too that ripped up a tree in our backyard. So I'm terrified of tornadoes, but hurricanes I'm okay with. Don't ask about my mental state.
Well, yeah, tornadoes take a more targeted approach. So
you can't predict them.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. And sometimes
I don't like unpredictable.
Sometimes it looks like they're moving slowly when in fact they're moving faster than they seem, and then they could come right at you, right?
They just come out of nowhere. You can't control that. You can control getting away from a hurricane.
Yeah, that's true. You can escape, yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. You kind of have a warning system. You don't have a warning system with a tornado. And I think they're more damaging and it's smaller impact, like in a smaller area. So that's, I don't like the not knowing.
Yeah. All right. What's your last story?
Okay. Are we ready? If you haven't, you guys have, I can't believe, if you have not seen this story, then you're not watching social media enough.
Oh, I know what's coming in.
Passengers duct tape man to seat after he groped and punched a flight attendant.
Yes,
Girl,
this fucking guy.
Yes.
Oh,
So
he deserved it.
1000%. A 22-year-old Ohio man, Michelle, was arrested for sexually assaulting flight attendants in the air and even punching one of them. Maxwell Berry was duct taped to his own seat by fellow passengers after he groped flight attendants and attacked them. The incident happened during a Frontier Airlines flight from Philadelphia to Miami. Berry was arrested on arrival at the Miami International Airport, worst fucking airport ever. Never will go there again. I would rather chop off my pinky toes. Sorry, don't care. And charged with 3 counts of battery, reported NBC News. Miami-Dade County Police confirmed that the passenger was intoxicated and added that the incident happened on a late-night Saturday flight. A video of him punching the flight attendant went viral. As fellow passengers laughed at the obnoxious man whining on the flight, he shouted that his parents were worth $2 million. The entitled man kept shouting at fellow passengers before being duct taped. As per the police report, Berry consumed 2 alcoholic drinks and finished them. He brushed his cup against a flight attendant's buttocks. He was reprimanded by the flight attendant, who told him, "Don't touch me." He then ordered a 3rd alcoholic beverage before spilling it on his shirt. He went to the bathroom to get changed, but came out shirtless. He was informed by a flight attendant that he needed to put on his shirt and helped him get an extra shirt from his carry-on bag and handed it to him. He then walked around the flight for a good 15 minutes before sexually assaulting a second flight attendant, groping her breasts. She asked him to get away from her and sit down on his seat. He then walked toward the 2 flight attendants and put his arms around them before groping them again. As per the police report, Berry consumed 2 alcoholic drinks and finishing them, he brushed his cup against a flight attendant. Wait, I'm redoing that. Frontier, sorry. Rachel copied the wrong information.
So while she's looking for that, I'm just going to interject and say he's a fucking lightweight. 3 drinks on a plane. Come on, dude.
And meanwhile, if you want some Diet Coke, they give you like a cup that holds like 5 ounces of it. You know.
And second of all, I didn't even think they were serving alcohol on flights during COVID, because I've been on flights since COVID happened, and there was no alcohol. Trust me, you got like a plastic baggie of snacks with like a hand sanitizing wipe. So the fact that they're even Frontier is serving alcohol, shit, Frontier, I'm about to hook up with you.
Yeah.
Frontier then released a new statement arguing that their first statement was rushed. Frontier Airlines maintains the utmost value, respect, concern, and support of all of our flight attendants, including those who were assaulted on this flight, said the spokesperson. We are supporting the needs of these team members and are working with law enforcement to fully support the prosecution of the passenger involved. They still refuse to confirm if the flight attendants were initially suspended for violating policy. What the hell were they violating policy on? Oh, for duct taping
the dumbass.
They didn't have any other form of constraint, though. So the company added that the staff who were sexually assaulted were placed on paid leave pending an investigation, which is standard procedure in such cases. Sarah Nelson, the president of the Association of Flight Attendants, slammed the decision. Quote, management suspended the crew as a knee-jerk reaction to a short video clip that did not show the full incident, said Nelson. Quote, management should be supporting the crew at this time, not suspending them. We will be fighting this with every contractual and legal tool available, but we would hope there will be no need for that as management comes to their senses and supports the people on the front line charged with keeping all passengers safe, end quote, said Nelson. He deserved it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would have duct taped his ass right to that damn chair.
Maybe he should have been given a parachute and just told to jump out the plane.
Morgan, did you see the interview that I posted of the guy, the flight attendant who duct taped him?
I did not.
Oh my God, you've got to go watch it. It is the best interview I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, did you post it today? Like just
yeah, go to my Facebook and watch it. It is outstanding. It's amazing.
Oh, okay. Well, my last story, actually, since we ended up doing the same story, I just reduced mine to 6. So my last one is, the headline is, "Woman with no license yanked 13 teeth from patient." So someone wanted to be a dentist real bad, I guess. Do either of you like going to the dentist?
I do. I'm a weirdo like that only because when I was a kid, my parents didn't take me to the dentist as much as I should have. So as an adult, I was in charge of, getting my own braces and all that shit. So I take a lot of pride in my teeth. And I'm weird. Like, I had to have teeth pulled, so I was, like, real intrigued at what it looked like. So I would, like, watch the goggles of my dentist. I promise I'm sane. But, like...
We've said way worse, girl. You're fine. We've said way worse. When I was 5, I wanted to be a dentist. I never, pursued that dream, so... Hermie likes to talk about homicide, so...
A lot of dentists commit suicide, apparently, so maybe you're better off not having pursued that. So anyway...
No, very high stress, but good Lord. No, I would never want... How many teeth were pulled at once?
13, the hard luck number.
That's too many.
I've had 4 pulled at once.
So have I! I've had 4 pulled.
It fucking sucked. I could not imagine the amount of pain. And something they don't tell you about when you pull teeth like that is, like, your gums, especially if it's your molars and your bigger teeth, they take longer for those holes to close in your gums, in your gums. So sometimes it smells because you get food.
I got dry socket on my wisdom.
I am sorry. See, I've
never come so close to physically. If I would have had to deal with that pain for the rest of my life, I would have committed suicide.
Yeah. No, I've heard that is not something to fuck with. But, like,
nope.
Just the healing process, the more teeth you don't have at once and the holes are trying to close up and you get food and debris in there, it makes your mouth stink.
Yeah, it's horrible.
That had to smell like roadkill. I could not. Oh, my God. I don't know what I would do. I would lose my mind.
Oh, my God. I love you. I love you so much. She needs to be part of the regular podcast.
Yay!
Michelle has to come on once a month.
So into the story now. Police investigating a break-in at a dental office. So this woman broke in the office to do this.
Okay, cool.
Happened in Nevada. Uncovered a more disturbing crime. Police say Laurel Ike, the 42-year-old dental office employee, accused of breaking into the office and stealing more than $22,000 in cash and checks from a drawer, also pulled 13 teeth from one person despite not having a license to do so. Investigators say the unauthorized dental surgery, which occurred sometime before the May 4th break-in at the office in Sun Valley, north of Reno, involved anesthetic that had been disposed of by the dental office. So I don't know what happens to anesthetic when it's expired, or I don't know if it rots or what. But
I don't think you're supposed to put it in like a dumpster. That's for sure.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, it probably has to be safely disposed of.
Yes, it does.
The Washoe County Sheriff's Office says Ike, who was arrested Wednesday, admitted performing the unlicensed extractions. She has been charged with felonies including performing surgery on another without a license, burglary of a business, and grand larceny. She also faces the 3 counts of violation of probation or condition of a suspended sentence. So, Michelle, we just come across this term grand larceny. What is that? Because I find the definition is kind of vague.
Let me see if I can make more sense of it. I'm Googling it because I never deal with it either.
I think it maybe I think maybe it has something to do with like intent or conspiracy, but I'm not entirely sure.
Or the amount.
So grand
It's the
larceny,
amount.
is the theft of personal property having a value above a legally specified amount. So like theft is usually anything under like locally they won't prosecute outside jurisdictions for a theft under $500. So I mean, like I could steal $500 from your bank account, and because I'm so far away, the cops aren't going to do shit to prosecute me because it costs more to extradite me to you to get charged than it would for the bank to just reimburse you the money I stole. Now with grand larceny, they're going for big amounts of money. So like grand larceny would be stealing checks, jewelry, personal items over about $950,000.
Oh, okay.
It's just the fact that she probably stole the money and the checks, which can, eventually add up to a huge amount of money. So yeah.
Also, whose teeth were she pulling?
I guess some random patient.
What the hell?
Like, yeah.
Maybe she dealt with a lot of Karens and she just fucking snapped. Maybe that.
Can we call her the Tooth Fairy?
OMG. That is hilarious. That is so freaking funny.
That would be.
What do you think she did with the teeth after? Do you think she made like a necklace? Because I know like when my teeth got pulled, I gave permission to let other people like practice dental work on my little nubbies when they came out. So.
Or use them for like save them for like
rituals?
No.
Is that where you were going?
Yeah, draw inverted pentagram, lights and
I love this. I'm dying. That's the best answer I've ever heard. No, I was gonna say like stem cell research. She's like, rituals? Yes, absolutely rituals. Meanwhile, I do have like animal bones in my house that are hanging out.
That's different.
When
it's freshly pulled teeth, there's options for blood magic. Okay, like
well, and they have like the pulp. So like, I saved my kids' teeth. I'm like, well, can we use this later for I don't know if they need something, because you know how you save their, what was it? The cord blood. There's like this did you have that when you had your baby? You had to have had, where you can store your cord blood for future use against like diseases in your child.
So I had a C-section and I was also preeclampsia, which for those who don't know is like a very serious condition. A lot of people can die from it.
Yes.
So I ended up almost dying from blood loss. So the blood in my body after I had like blood transfusions out the wazoo.
Wow.
So my cord blood was not necessarily my blood.
No, it's the baby. It's like, so apparently like oh my God, you guys seriously Google this because it's a thing. I'm not kidding. The baby's like umbilical cord or
cord. Okay.
Yes.
No, we didn't do that, but you know what's funny about that shit? Okay, this is so nerdy of me. Did you guys ever play Silent Hill, the game?
Yes.
Silent Hill?
My God.
Silent Hill 4, the room, when you have to get his fucking umbilical cord.
Terrifying. The most terrifying game ever in the history of life.
That's my favorite one.
Such anxiety.
Was so fucking crazy. But yeah, that's the only time I was like, why the fuck would someone keep their umbilical cord?
That's why.
Like, no. Mine probably is doing something with science. I don't know. I don't need, to be able to replicate me. It's bad enough I have one kid, so.
Does the baby inherit the mother's blood type? Is that how it works? Or?
No, actually, I don't think my daughter has my blood type. I think she's something different.
Yep. My babies, mine are different as well, because I'm A positive.
I'm O positive.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Me too. Yep, I'm ORH positive.
Nice.
Yay.
Universal
donor.
We're
the positive group talking about all the negative dead babies today.
That's what we
Look
do.
At us.
You guys, it's awareness. It's awareness.
Yes.
Okay. And one thing I'm going to close with, actually, this was a huge story today. So Prince Andrew is now is he being charged with
Oh
sexual
yeah.
minor, or is it just an allegation? Is he being
Okay, so it a lawsuit was filed on Monday accusing him of sexually abusing a girl under the age of 18.
wow.
I have the story. It's insane, and it's so long though. That's what I was gonna do. But if you want to do it, go, because
Well,
I'm
you know
telling you.
what? The thing is, in this world, if you can, money can buy anything if you know where to spend it, which can result in many evil things. Like I thought of that last night. I was watching the movie Hostel Part Two. It's a work of fiction, but I thought, you know what, this could very
Love that
well
movie.
exist because there are these supposed secret societies of rich pedophiles and a lot of children who are trafficked end up with them, and they pay huge money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So this sounds like I think that could be legit. I mean,
Michelle, are you into horror movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, super into them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, same. Yeah, the Jeffrey Epstein case, and Ghislaine just.
Maxwell. Yeah.
It,
It's
I
fucking
listened
sick.
to
It's sicker than
It is
any horror
so.
movie you could think of.
It's so beyond disgusting, and I want justice. I want this to come out. I want every single person who's been a part of this, and maybe we don't even want to know the people who have been a part of this, but I want it out.
can you imagine a member of the
Right.
royal family goes to prison for that?
Yeah,
Imagine that's unprecedented.
it's insane.
Yeah. God.
But imagine all the people who have partaken.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you think of some of these people who are like politicians, lawyers, judges, cops, just runs the whole gamut, billionaires. They've been protected until now. Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't kill himself.
You don't think he killed himself?
Hell no.
Well, I can see why he would have wanted to because
Nope.
he was up shit creek, that's for sure.
Nope.
Who do you think would have
Yeah,
killed?
but in those high security, those max security settings, they purposely don't give you shit to kill yourself with.
Yeah, you don't let
Thank
you
you.
have shoelaces. Yeah.
There you go, girl.
Yeah, you can't hang yourself with fucking federal grade toilet paper.
He
That's
did not kill himself. No.
Yeah, no, there's no way. And the cameras just suddenly stop working. Come on, dude. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, people are terrified because, again,
It's
that's
just
how many
it's
people
just
are.
like every other thing, like they silence people. They
Money
do what
and
they
power.
can to protect because exactly. And that's
Money
the
and power.
scary thing. It's like who is behind it and who's covering whose ass and how far does it go?
Oh yeah,
It's a giant rabbit hole.
I hope I live to see the day that one of these break open and come out, because I want to revel in it.
Well, I mean, Epstein had presidents as friends. That's the extent of the legal protections he had.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure somebody could have pulled strings and gave him some way to be killed, I guess, or to shut him up.
Oh, 100%. This is America, darling.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Like I said, if you got the money, you can get what you want if you know where to spend it. So. Yeah. Well, on that note, that cheerful note, I guess we'll go for this week. Thank you very much, Michelle Gower, for joining us. You were an excellent co-host. Your knowledge came in handy.
Will you come back and join us again sometime?
Yes, you must join us again. Yeah. All right.
Maybe bring some stories that you'd like to talk about that we can do. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I'll try to find the craziest things, the funny, crazy, whatever. I hope to find a chicken nugget story that's legit.
Yeah, you have to. Okay, so bring something crazy funny for Morgan.
Just check Snopes.
He tries to he has 100%. I have not gotten him on a really messed up case because he will outdo me every single time.
Yeah, I look for weird stories. Yeah.
He really does. I mean, your Human Monsters podcast is obviously the reason why I started this podcast, because we love Morgan. He's legend.
Well, I'd like to find some more Walmart crimes. Those are always entertaining,
Yeah, those are fun too. Those are fun too.
Yeah.
Michelle, you've been great. Thank you so much for joining us. What a
thank you
lovely.
guys for having me. It was fun.
Thanks to everybody for listening.
Don't hate us. Keep listening.
Yes, thank you.
We'll bring more disgusting depravity next week.
We will. We promise.
Because people
and
don't
maybe
stop
more
doing
teeth.
Freaking teeth. I can't. Yes. I'm actually gonna send you a damn teeth necklace. Watch.
Oh
Yeah,
my god, dude.
Yeah, brush your teeth so that to eliminate the possibility of having some evil, crazed thief woman removing a bunch of them out of your mouth.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I really want to know who that was. I'm gonna have to look into that. It's super weird.
Oh, by the way, this coming Friday is Friday the 13th, so maybe some.
Oh my god, is it really?
Yeah, so maybe some true crime news will come out of that. So pay attention.
Yes, I love Friday. Actually, that's a lucky day for me.
Oh, it is lucky. All right. Well,
for me,
we shall see. You live in Florida, so.
We'll see. Can't wait till next week.
All right, guys. Have yourself a great evening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.